Hi everyone, this is Ashley with CT Mina Digitals. I'm going to do a tutorial using my Fire Face overlays in Photoshop. I have open 4 different images that I'm going to use. Actually, I already did that one, apparently. I'll do that on a different one, but I have open one of the overlays I'm going to use, but I'm also going to show you a different way to do overlays to quickly switch between them rather than just copy and paste. If you are wanting to use the copy and paste method, sometimes someone contacted me, they had the Spanish version of Photoshop and they don't have as many different ways to do stuff in Photoshop apparently as they do in the English version. So place embedded sometimes does not work with all formats. So if you, I'm going to show the place embedded version, but if you cannot do that in Photoshop, just simply open your overlays into Photoshop and copy and paste them into your image. I'm going to do this one copy and paste first, and then I'll show the other method. So I'm going to go ahead and select all, edit and copy, and edit and paste into the image that I want to use. My overlay is a lot bigger than my image, so I'm going to resize here. And then change the blending mode on the overlay to screen. That's going to make it transparent. And I just want this, excuse me, to seem as though it's coming out of the cauldron here. So I'm just going to place it, and then I'm going to create a layer mask, and then use a brush. I'm actually going to use a hard brush at 100% opacity. A black brush you want to brush off, and then I'm just going to brush it off of the front of the cauldron right here where I obviously don't want it, and then I am done. If you want to change the color of the flame, you can add as many adjustments as you want. If you need to make it brighter, you can also duplicate the layer if you want it to be a lot brighter. Why isn't it letting me do it there? There we go. You can just duplicate it if you want it to be like really bright. You can lower, oops, take those ones away. My Photoshop is being finicky. Okay, there we go. You can lower the opacity if you don't want it to be as bright. And then you can add different adjustment layers. Like if you wanted to change the color, you can add a hue saturation layer to it. Just make sure when you're adding adjustment layers, you create that clipping mask. You can either do it here, or you can right click the layer and select create clipping mask from the drop down. And then you can drag your hue slider and change the color of the flames if you want. Obviously that's optional. Okay, another image. I have this one. If you want to use the flame as an actual face in the photo. So this time I'm going to do the place embedded method. So I'm going to go up to File and Place Embedded. And then you need to navigate to wherever your files are saved on your PC, and then select whichever face you want. Let's do this one. Resize. Doesn't have to be perfect because you want to change that blending mode to screen to be able to see exactly where you're probably going to want to place it. Okay, and then say you want to try out a different one for this image, you can just right click, replace contents, and then navigate back to that folder. It should open up to the same one, but if not, you can. And then just double click a different one. And that's a way that you can quickly switch between overlays to see which one you like the best. I want more of like a Reaper type for this one. I like that one. So go ahead and do that however you would want it, and I would leave this image as is. I wouldn't want to change the color or anything in that one. It's another way you can use them. For the biker one, I guess I opened a edit that I already did, but my image was just a man before this, and all I did was just overlay one of the skulls onto the face. You can lay it right over someone, like an actual face if you want. This one I think was one of my favorites. I'm going to go to File and Place Embedded. I'm going to change the flame to this one, I think. screen blending mode, resize, and then these are really cool to add as like candle flames. It even looks like it's like coming from her mouth. That's pretty cool. Obviously, if you want it to be, this one works because it kind of hides the flame, but if you want to create something like this, it might be a good idea to take the photo without the candle actually lit, or actually light it, blow it out, and then take the photo so you have the char on the and the wax on the candle there. Or you could just edit out the flame in Photoshop. Another thing that you might want to add to some of your images, depending on where you add the flame within the image, is a little bit of glare on your subject, because there would be glare on your subject with that flame. So it's optional, but if I were to just click on my background layer here and duplicate that, or actually I don't even need to do that. You can create a whole new layer. I think I'm going to put it on linear light blending mode, but I may change that. I'm going to grab a soft brush at 100% opacity, and then I'm going to hold down Alt on my keyboard, and I'm just going to select a color of the flame within here, a brighter color actually, and then click on that color, and I'm going to make it pretty saturated. And then I'm going to brush it behind the flame, and then lower the opacity until you kind of get it to where you want it. You can create a layer mask and brush some of that off if you want. You can play around with different blending modes. If linear light doesn't work, soft light could work. Overlay is another one, but I think linear light works good with this one. So you kind of just want to add that as like it would be realistic to have kind of a hue on the subject if there was a big flame coming out of the cauldron or wherever you had the flame added. Like for this one, there's already, see how there's that hue kind of projecting onto her chin and everything from this flame? That's kind of what you want to recreate if you add a flame to an image where there isn't already a flame. You want to add that. And that's it. If you have any questions, you can send me a message. If you are a studio photographer, I would love for you to join my group on Facebook. I will link it in the description. If you want more for tutorials like this one, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel to get notified when I add more videos.